press the bell icon on the YouTube app to never miss a video from News Laundry.
Hello and welcome to News Laundry Interviews. Today we have with us Justice N. Santosh Hegde. He's a former Supreme Court judge. He was the Lokayukta in Karnataka between 2006 and 11. But most of you will really know him as the man who brought the Bellary mining scam to limelight. His 2011 report really indicted the Reddy brothers. And we're really lucky to have you here, considering the turmoil that the state is in. Yeah. Before I get down to any of the technical questions that I have for you, or any questions on the current state of affairs, you are a citizen of India. Yeah. You're a resident of Karnataka. Yeah. You're a resident of Bangalore. Yeah. You have voted, as we can see from your black ink mark. I just want to know, as a voter, how do you feel with everything that has happened leading up to the elections and now what's happened pre-poll?
I'm very disappointed with what has happened in the last elections. It was a no-hold-barred election. Corruption was no issue at all. Nothing that really should have been discussed has not been discussed at all. It is just through my mind business. If one called the other "you are corrupt," other will not deny it. They say, "Are you not corrupt?" Such situations I've noticed in the last couple of weeks before the election. Unfortunately, the voting was very poor in Bangalore city.
Yeah, it was the lowest at 50%.
When a media person asked me, I said, "This is a rich and powerful locality. People are not bothered who comes to power because they can look after themselves with the resources that they have." Such like things, promises were made plenty. Even things which contradicted their character was also made as a promise, because the Congress party in Karnataka was in opposition in 2011 when I submitted my mining report. Yeah. Because that report was not implemented in 2012 and early 2013, under the leadership of Siddaramaiah in the opposition, they walked from here to Bellary as a matter of protest. And in 2014, Congress came to power in Karnataka. I'm sure the illegal mining was an issue then, which helped the Congress party to come to power. And they didn't implement the mining report either. Per contra, in 2014, the first thing the Congress government did was to try to remove one of the two powers that was there with the Lokayukta, what is called the grievance redressal, which was helping the people who suffer because of maladministration or no administration to get relief without having to go to the court. That power they wanted to
Congress took that power
away, but then tried to take it away, but then it became a big issue because people came to know of it and all. Then they got scared, they left it at that. 2016, without discussion in the assembly or publicly, they constituted a body called ACB, Anti-Corruption Bureau, and took away the power of anti-corruption from the Lokayukta police and gave it to the ACB, denuding the Lokayukta the power of investigating corruption cases. This is what the Congress party did. Of course, prior to 2013, when BJP was in power for nearly almost 2 years after they submitted the report, they didn't implement the report either. But now the elections are just completed.
Both the party's manifesto
says if we come to power, we will strengthen the Lokayukta.
Yeah.
What does it indicate? I mean,
when you read that, did you have any hope from these two parties?
Oh no. Per contra, I was just thinking, aren't they taking the voters for a ride? Yeah. Making such promises, and they expect the voters to believe it now. And as a matter of fact, what was expected, at least by me, has happened. No party has got absolute majority.
Yeah.
Congress got about 71 seats. This happened around on the 15th, around 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 o'clock they go to
JDS.
and offer their support, saying that Mr. Kumaraswamy can become the chief minister. And the JDS, which hated the Congress, because I have material to show it to you if need be, that Kumaraswamy, I said, never ever in our future will ever join hands with the Congress.
In fact, it's very interesting that you bring that up, because a lot of people are also wondering if this alliance happens, is it going to be sustainable?
No, I don't think so.
And also in South Mysore region where they've won, people have voted for JDS against the Congress.
Yes.
So, what is your view of the alliance?
This is just to get into that chair, and thereafter they'll try to do something to survive sitting there in the thing. Well, that's the thing. Nobody got any absolute majority. What does Congress do? It's got 104. BJP. It's got 104 seats. It goes to the governor and says, "Call us to form the government. We'll prove our majority." I don't know whether the governor ever asked them, where will you get the majority from? The only way the majority the JDS can get is by poaching.
Horse trading.
Yeah, horse trading, and from the Congress, from the BJP, or rather the Congress and JDS. I mean, this is not what is expected in a democracy.
Actually, and when you, over the last one day at least, we've seen on channels, anchors, news anchors, even politicians very openly gloat about the fact that, yeah, we do a majority, or, we have our Amit Shah, or we have our own ways of doing. I think Sri Ramalu was interviewed in NDTV today, and he actually said that, Reddy and I, we are thinking, we are talking, we are seeing how to, which is very clear that the game is actually about
government never asked them, where will you get the numbers from? Obviously, it has to be by purchasing some members from the opposition, or rather the Congress and the JDS. At the same time, JDS-Congress combination also, God knows how long it will last. As it is, we've been hearing rumors that there is split within the Congress group and split in the JDS group, and what's going to happen, nobody knows. Now, the JDS-Congress group has gone to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court accepted the request to hear the matter in the midnight. And of course, didn't find any immediate urgency, because whatever has happened could be reversed, and therefore they have kept the matter for hearing tomorrow. In the whole process, I think they have exposed themselves. They have not been able to convince the people of Karnataka that if they come to power, they'll do something good for Karnataka. No.
What if, I want to ask you, because you are a constitutional expert and you know this at least legal aspect of it. If you were the governor, how would you have gone about these two parties approaching you? What would have been the right thing for...
Yeah, there are certain guidelines which is given by the Supreme Court in various cases. One, of course, is the single largest party to be called first for the purpose of approving the majority. So, that's what the governor has done today.
So if you look at that, BJP deservedly
I think so. I think so. But I wouldn't have given them 15 days time. 15 days. I would have said prove it in 3 or 4 days, because that will give a long time for them to negotiate, get into all sorts of...
And then there's the resort.
I wouldn't have done that.
Politics happen.
Yeah. At the same time, I think the claim of the JDS also would have to be considered by the governor in the backdrop of the fact whether it will give a stable government to the state of Karnataka. Now we hear they are saying that BJP has sabotaged the constitution and whatnot, and everything is being spoken, but then they should answer the people who started it. The Ayaram Gayaram came in 1980s when JDS was not in existence also. And it is the Congress which taught the politicians how to jump from party to party and all. Politicians have very short memory. They
in fact, in Karnataka, a lot of Congress MLAs are some of them from BJP.
Yeah.
And there's always this shift. But what you're saying, to just get it clear, is that you're saying that the BJP could be called, but the period to prove the majority is too long.
Because In S.R. Bommai's case, Supreme Court has laid down that the single largest party should be called first. It is also laid down that this head counting cannot be done in governor's residence or anywhere else in all. It can be done only in the assembly hall. So it has to be in the assembly of this thing. And I think what the governor did in calling the BJP, you can't blame the governor because he had that power. And to contend that we too are more than BJP, so we ought to have been called, I don't think it's correct proposition in my opinion.
But then the way it played out, like yesterday, BJP guys were already, before the governor said anything, Yediyurappa said, I'm going to be swearing in at 9:30 tomorrow. There was a tweet from BJP that came out way before there was any official confirmation from Raj Bhavan. Does this sort of put the governor's post, it makes it look partisan?
No, except the fact that the governor was a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party in Gujarat and was a minister in the BJP government there. I don't think what the governor did was wrong at all. It's natural when a person is from a particular background, takes a particular decision, you question that decision on the ground that you are biased or you are for somebody. I don't think it's correct at all in the sense of to blame the governor, except to the fact that 15 days is little too much for giving a lot of elbow room for the party.
For horse trading. And especially because I believe that Yediyurappa asked for 7 days. And
this talk of Yediyurappa, he's been blabbering this right to the canvas. On the 17th at 4:30, I'll be sworn in as the next chief minister. I'll invite the honorable prime minister to come to Bangalore to be present at the swearing-in ceremony. Then I'll call Mr. Amit Shah also to be present there. I mean, he has been saying this, as if his astrologer has told him that he'll get majority of the thing. But of course, what has happened is since his party is the single largest party, he got that opportunity.
Now, and he also wrote before, I believe that he sent a letter to the governor before Congress and JDS did. So that's also being used as one of the reasons. That part I have not heard about that anyway, because even the moment the JDS Congress was also very fast. Within about a couple of hours of, not even the trend has fully been declared. They have been claiming this thing. To be called upon to form the government. Anyway, now we got to see end of the week how much time is it. I wanted to ask you one question on your 2011 report. It's a stinging indictment on the Reddys, the Bellary mining scam, the extent of it, the rot really. And you really put the sunlight, you really put the focus on what was happening. This election saw a return of all the guys that you had indicted. You have 2 Reddy brothers, half a dozen relatives. From the Congress, you had B.S. Anand, who was, I think, from BJP.
He was BJP, then he jumped just in the
and he's won, And also from Bellary City, even I believe the candidate from JDS was also golden son. So when you see all 3 parties, I mean, maybe the extent of it is a lot with BJP because Reddys are siding there. But you have Congress also has had people with, men who were arrested by the CBI in mining scam, so do JDS. It seems to be that politics in Karnataka is, it's just these mining czars and mining barons. There's an intrinsic link and it will never, no matter which party comes, it's just going to stay.
That part is correct, that I also have an apprehension, whichever party comes to power, nothing will happen to those people. Let me just give you a slight background of the mining activities in Karnataka. I was asked to investigate illegal mining in the state of Karnataka from 2000 to 2010. And when I went into the matter and looked at the evidence that was available, I found I don't think there has been a bigger scam than mining scam. There may be 2G scam, there may be Colgate, the Commonwealth Games and all that, but this was the thing which overrides all those things. From 2000 to 2010, they must have taken away billions and billions of metric tons of iron ore from Karnataka to mostly to China and Pakistan. The money government got as a royalty is only 27 rupees. whereas 1 metric ton of iron ore was exported to China and Pakistan at the rate of 6,500 to 7,000 rupees.
And
Property
government was
listed,
paying 27.
yeah, 27 rupees. Now government fully accepted that 27 rupees and allowed the thing to go. Very, nobody interfered with it because everybody who could have interfered in that illegal mining were looked after very comfortably. Everything was there. And in the manner in which it was done, unbelievable, because mining is controlled by certain laws and rules. No mining to be done in the forest area, well, in the demarcated area you can do the mining. That wouldn't happen. Once you get a mining report, they would start outside the territory which is given to them. And we don't even pay any royalty for that, because they can't, government also can't receive because it's illegal. The manner in which it was done was, they have really ruined the nature with the thing.
Yeah, your report talks about
my interim report I submitted in 2008 itself, where I said, look here, this mineral is not a regenerating product. Once taken, it's end of it and all. And the manner in which it is going on, if you don't stop it, then a day will come when India requires iron ore, you'll have to import it from some other country. If you have a regulated mining system, this will go on for generation to generation if you do it properly. I even suggested that the export of mining ore should be stopped.
Yes.
And given to those companies which are willing to put a steel manufacturing company on the foothills of the place where the mining is done, so that the minerals don't have to travel thousands of kilometers, because by that process also government gets suffers. But somehow that was never implemented. Not my final report is implemented. In my final report, names of 3 chief ministers, one from Congress, one from JDS, one from BJP.
All 3 parties.
All 3 parties. All 3 parties and other smaller parties are also involved in the mining, because there's huge profit in that. One night, Lokaयुkta officer sees 90 lorries carrying about 240,000 metric tons of iron ore near a place called Ankola. The officers offloaded the mineral, stored it in a small port called Bilikere near Ankola. 3 months later, when our officer went there was not a single grain available. Everything was there. And big companies, I don't want to name them, big exporters involved in iron ore mining have taken the iron ore from them. But nothing has happened.
So in a way, the hard work and the really looking painstakingly detailing what was wrong, do you feel sometimes dejected?
Oh yes, in the sense, more than me, my officers, they worked in such conditions, their life was in danger.
Yeah, I was coming to that because journalists who cover mining, they are most threatened.
Yeah.
Most of the murders that happen are sand mining, coal mining.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever face?
Oh yes, one of my senior officers was number 1 in assisting me, Dr. U.V. Singh. Twice there was attempt on his life. And once he went to a place called Hospet and he found illegal mining going on, and he called the police station to assist him to arrest the people. And the station house officer tells him, if you are interested in surviving, you better go back. SP also said the same thing. And I came to know of it, I spoke to the DGP then, he said, no, I will look into it. And a couple of hours later, when I called Dr. Singh, he said, yes sir, they have arrested them, they have arrested me also. They have arrested me for an offence under SC/ST Atrocities Act. And they have arrested others under the trespass, not illegal mining, for trespassing into the government property. I mean, this is the way administration works.
But there seems to be a strong link between politics in Karnataka and mining.
Money. No other profession now trade as such money as mining has.
And that gets pumped into political parties.
And for every time a person goes to investigate a thing, he's looked after pretty well, and whatever his needs are, they fulfill that needs.
I wanted to come to this because this election, there's also been a lot of talk of how the sheer amount of money that has been spent by all parties, either bribing voters or in all sorts of activities. It's really money power that we saw.
Yes, because I think Election Commission seized more than 120 crores of rupees, apart from all other gifts and other things that were kept ready for being distributed. That must be 1/10 of what they have already spent.
What I want to ask you, when you have such an electoral system, do you have any hope from political parties wanting to clamp down on corruption? Because it's really, in a sense, symbiotic relationship. You know, these guys have to go back to those guys for the money that they need for the elections.
The promises are there, but then, how can anybody believe them? This is all the same thing. In 2013 also it happened, same thing. Then the opposition party, Congress, it said it will implement the report of the Hegde, will take strict action against everybody involved in it, and nothing has happened. Per contra, a couple of people were released, cases against them was dismissed and all, but no appeal has been filed against that. I get an impression that backroom they scratch each other's back. It's only the fight is only in front of the
to fool the public and to make these promises. Now we're in quite a tumultuous situation in Karnataka. What is your inkling as to what's going to happen? Do you see this being resolved, or do you think, are you also cynical like many of the people have spoken here who are saying
I don't think BJP will be able to form a government because poaching may not be that easy as it used to be at one point of time.
With the kind of media limelight?
You're right, the media limelight. And it will be extremely difficult. The rumor is that they are offering 100 crores in the cabinet minister's post.
Swami said yesterday.
With this demonetization, where will you get 100 crores in cash for one? It's not for one member. There must be at least for 10, 12 members you got to there. I don't believe that much, but still, I'm sure they have enough money to try to purchase. It will happen or not, I'm not sure, because I think it will be extremely difficult for BJP to get 10 people out. Though the rumors are the Lingayat group wants to get away from this alliance with Congress and JDS. Similarly, there are others also in JDS who are not satisfied with one is his own, Kumar Swami's own brother is not happy with what has happened. Alliance.
And what if the Congress and the JDS do come to power? Do you see this alliance as a stable choice for Karnataka? Because essentially these were sworn enemies in the fourth election.
According to me, it will be a stable choice for the purpose of corruption. Between themselves, they will do as much as possible. There's no other thing about it. I think the people of Karnataka will suffer in the process. There will be no development, I'm sure. There will not be any money left for development. The manner in which I have seen the administration going on, it's not only in the mining area. There are many areas where you can siphon off money, and that will happen because they have come to power with that money. So they have to accumulate more money.
So there's no way out.
I'm a pessimist in the manner to say so to say.
The voters are screwed one way or the other. But I just want to ask you in the sense that there is a lot of cynicism you see in people, which is perhaps reason why people don't come out to vote. But there is this sense that now people are literally laughing at what's happening. It's not even registering as something, as some mockery of democracy.
In the months to come, people will realize what really is happening. Where is the administration going? One thing, if an educated person, I've been going and talking about this, and look, if you don't find a right candidate who is people-friendly, who's honest, first of all, he should be honest. Secondly, he must have the desire to serve the people. If you don't find any such persons, vote for NOTA. Because it will send a message to the political parties one time, at one stage, that these gimmicks don't work. Unless you put a candidate who's acceptable to the people, they will not vote.
Did you vote for NOTA?
I did vote.
Okay, you voted for NOTA.
Yeah.
So no BJP, no Congress, no JDS.
When it comes to BJP, the candidate here in my constituency is a man who was sent to jail by me.
Okay.
Katta Subramanya.
Yeah.
He was the industries minister, and when new airport was coming and all, he understood the value of the land which will be acquired, and thus he started illegally acquiring land, threatening people, or doing all sorts of things and all. So the police arrested him, he and his son also, but the court has acquitted them.
And the Congress candidate?
Congress candidate is Roshan Beg. I am not very. They came to me, they asked me, I told them, I'm sorry, I'm not going to vote either of these people, either for your candidate or for the other candidate. And others who stood for election were not really serious about it.
So you're an advocate. You would advocate.
Yes, I would because
don't sit at home. Show your anger.
You have to go. You have to exercise your franchise to the right person, not belongs to religion, like caste or creed or whatever it is. Not because he's belonging to a particular political party which you may like and all. No. In democracy, ultimately it's the voice of the people. The voice also includes their franchise. And if they want a good government, I think the only way is, if you don't find a good candidate, vote for NOTA. That will send a message to the political parties.
Okay, one last question. I'm sure that with your illustrious career and the anti-corruption fight that you put up, you were also part of the India Against Corruption.
Yeah, I was, yes.
There must have been a lot of parties trying to court you to join them.
Yeah, not the...
You have not considered a career in politics?
No, I never considered a career. I had, in a sense, occasions when if I wanted to get into politics, I could have got into it. But of course, I never believed this AAP and the new parties that have come, Film Star, Upendra. No, because, this morning a gentleman came saying, I have done this, and I want to form a regional party. I said, you come to the wrong person. Because it's not easy to form a party without financial backup. The financial backup can only come from cheating or by corruption. Secondly, hundreds of people are required to form a party. What do you know about the background of those people? Take AAP. AAP became popular in Delhi because of the fact it was fighting for the truth and all. Now what has happened? At least 6-7 members of the party there are under investigation.
Yeah.
Because there are, you don't know, so many people have become part of this thing, and only opportunities come and they come close to you when they get a position in the political party. Karnataka, Mr. Upendra, who is a film actor, he came to me. I told him the thing, and I said, sorry, I'm away from politics, but that apart, my advice to you is, how will you manage the party? Okay, then he formed a party which within 3 months split and has become two separate parties.
And he went back.
Yeah. And another person, a lady, Anupama Shena, was a police officer in Ballari. She was a police officer. She resigned, and she has formed a party also. When you see Tamil Nadu, every film star is floating a political party. I don't think in democracy this system will work.
Then how do we change it? I mean, just as an extension to what you said, there is corruption, there are these practices. It's a chicken and egg situation. You can't enter politics if you don't have money. Yeah. And once you're in politics, you need money, so you have to resort to corrupt practices. How does that change? What is the...
My 5 years experience in Karnataka Lokayukta has taught me one thing. There's no point in blaming the individuals here. You got to blame the society in which we are. I grew up in a society which used to boycott the people who had been to jail or where their character was not good. They had no place in the society. But today, people go to jail, take bail, they come out, and there are people who are willing to garland. And these people go on being like this and all. So this society respects money and power. So that should change. And that can't be changed by people of my age, because we are responsible for changing that society from good to bad. So I've been to more than 1,015 educational institutions, speaking to the students, trying to tell them my experience in the Lokayukta and what is really happening in the society. And I sort of implore them to inculcate just two values. One is contentment in life, one is humanism. If you don't have contentment in life, you get a disease called greed, for which there is no treatment whatsoever. The scams have told us how the growth of money in this scams and all. Now, when I say contentment, it doesn't mean the youth, when you pass it, you get a degree or you get a job, you keep quiet, I don't want anything more. No, that's not the contentment I'm pleading in. My contentment includes ambition. An ambition to grow, ambition to become somebody big, ambition even to become rich, because legitimately earned wealth is no productive sin. Earn as much as you want, pay your taxes, then spend the money as you like. At the same time, the other value, humanism. We are not born human beings. There is no species called human being. We are born to a species called Homo sapiens, which is entirely different from the concept of humanism which our elders created as a value for peace and solidarity in the society. We see accidents every day, people taking photographs, and you don't even help the victim to get out from the ground, don't call the police, don't call the ambulance. We are merrily taking videographing. Such like situations are there. And even in administration, I think humanism was the foundation of a good government. So if these two values are inculcated, maybe in the days to come we will change that society.
What about the real corruption that Karnataka politics is all about? What is the way out? Do you think like a Lokayukta, strengthening of Lokayukta back again?
No, madam, no, it's not possible according to me. Because corruption is not something which is of recent origin. Corruption was there, if you go back to the birth of civilization itself, it was there. You read your scriptures, you'll find some reference to corruption there. It is not the existence of corruption which is bad, but it's the growth of corruption which is bad. If we can contain that growth...
And people recognizing that it's a serious issue.
Correct. One of the methods by which you can control is to boycott that person. That have no relationship with him. And that is better than conviction. See, in the present day judicial system, by the time you convict the person, he would be dead also. You take Lalu Yadav's case. In 1996, CBI has filed a charge sheet in Patna High Court, the Patna Special Court. He was first convicted in 2014.
Yeah.
And was not bothered about it. And his party, he comes out in a bail, and his party wins the single largest party in Bihar. What does it indicate? That shows that our society is not bothered about this thing. So I know if he were to be boycotted by the community, he and his family, they wouldn't have come to the level which they are today.
You're really talking about a grassroots.
Yeah, it's there.
Thank you so much for talking to us. I hope there's a stable situation that takes over, and I hope Karnataka gets out of this mess with a reasonably stable and reasonably honest government. But let's see if that happens. Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you.